The scent of lemon polish filled the air as a soft knock echoed through the grand marble hallway. A woman in her mid-30s stood hesitantly at the door, her little girl clinging tightly to her skirt. She wore an old faded dress, the fabric stretched thin from years of wear. Her hands were rough from endless scrubbing, and her tired eyes carried both dignity and defeat. She wasn't supposed to bring her daughter to work, maids never did. But today she had no choice. "Why are you bringing her?" the housekeeper whispered, frowning when she saw the child. "I couldn't leave her alone," the woman answered softly. Her name was Sarah. Her daughter, Lily, barely 8, had hair that curled wildly around her face, and eyes that spoke of hunger and curiosity. Sarah had been struggling ever since her husband abandoned them. She worked long hours cleaning the houses of the wealthy, barely earning enough for rent and food. That morning, her babysitter had cancelled last minute, and Sarah couldn't risk losing this job. So she had taken Lily along, praying nobody would notice. Inside, the house glittered like a palace. Chandeliers sparkled, floors shone, and golden frames of paintings seemed to watch them silently. Lily stared wide-eyed at the vastness of the place, clutching her small rag as if she could help her mother clean. "Stay close to me," Sarah whispered. As Sarah bent down to scrub a staircase, footsteps approached. She froze. A man in a sharp gray suit appeared at the top of the stairs. His hair was neatly combed, his jaw strong, and his eyes carried the weight of authority. He was Daniel Carter, the millionaire owner of the mansion. Sarah quickly stood, pulling Lily behind her, her heart pounding. "Who is this?" Daniel's voice was stern. His eyes shifted to the little girl. "She's my daughter, sir. I had no one to leave her with today," Sarah admitted, her voice trembling. Daniel narrowed his gaze. "This is not a daycare, Sarah. If you want to keep working here, you need to follow the rules." "Yes, sir. I understand." "I'm sorry," Sarah whispered, bowing her head in shame. But just as Daniel was about to turn away, a small voice rang out. "Daddy, Daddy! Look, it's her." Daniel stopped. His son, Oliver, a boy of about 8, came running down the hallway, pointing straight at Lily. Sarah's eyes widened. Lily's small hand gripped her dress tighter. Daniel's face changed, surprise flashing across his features. "Oliver, what are you talking about?" Oliver pointed again, more eagerly. "It's her. She's the girl from the hospital. The one who gave me her sandwich when I was hungry. Daddy, remember? She's the one I told you about." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She remembered it now. Months ago, in the children's ward of the city hospital, Lily had insisted on giving away her only sandwich to a pale, weak boy sitting alone. Sarah had scolded her later. "We barely have enough food, Lily." But Lily had only smiled and said, "Mommy, he needed it more." And now, that same boy was standing in front of them, the millionaire's son. Daniel's eyes flickered between Sarah, Lily, and his son. Something shifted in his expression, a crack in the cold wall he carried. Oliver ran to Lily and hugged her. "I knew it was you. You helped me when nobody else did." "Daddy, can she stay?" Sarah stood frozen, ashamed yet proud. Her daughter's kindness had returned in a way she never expected. Daniel cleared his throat, trying to hide the emotion in his eyes. He looked at Sarah differently now, not just as a maid, but as the mother of the little girl who had touched his son's heart. For the first time in months, Sarah felt something stirring in her chest, hope. But Daniel wasn't an easy man. He was wealthy, powerful, and cautious. Sarah knew one act of kindness wouldn't suddenly change her world. She still had debts piling up, landlords threatening eviction, and Lily's growing hunger haunting her each night. As the day went on, Sarah tried to focus on her work, scrubbing every corner, polishing every frame. But Oliver kept following Lily, showing her his toys, asking her questions, laughing with her as if they had known each other forever. For a moment, Lily wasn't a poor girl with worn shoes, she was just a child, happy and free. Daniel watched silently from a distance. He saw the way Sarah worked tirelessly, never complaining. He noticed how her hands were raw from scrubbing, how she glanced at her daughter with both love and guilt. And deep down, he felt something stir inside him. By the time Sarah was ready to leave, Oliver clung to Lily's hand. "Daddy, please. Can she come again? Not just to clean. To play." Daniel hesitated. His pride, his rules, his world, they all collided with the simple truth standing before him. His son had found a friend. And perhaps he had found something too. Sarah didn't know it yet, but that single moment, when Oliver pointed and said, "Daddy, look, it's her," would change their lives forever. The following week, Sarah dreaded returning to the mansion. She feared Daniel might fire her for breaking the rules. She needed the job desperately. But when she arrived, holding Lily's hand once again, she was surprised by what she saw. Daniel himself opened the door. His expression was softer this time, though still guarded. "Come in," he said simply. Sarah nodded, guiding Lily inside. She expected instructions about cleaning, but instead, Daniel led them to the living room. A table was set with fresh fruit, bread, and milk. Oliver sat there, grinning from ear to ear. "Lily, you came back." Sarah blinked in disbelief. "Sir, I think there's a mistake. We came to clean, not—" Daniel interrupted. "You will still work. But your daughter, she doesn't need to sit in the corner. She can stay with Oliver. Consider it part of her being here." Sarah didn't know what to say. Gratitude swelled inside her chest. For once, Lily wasn't treated as a burden, but as someone worthy of kindness. Days turned into weeks. Sarah worked harder than ever, determined to prove herself. But something strange began to happen. Daniel found himself lingering near the rooms she cleaned. He noticed how gently she spoke to Lily, how she taught her to be kind even when life was cruel. He admired her strength, though she never realized it. One evening, as Sarah was preparing to leave, Daniel stopped her. "Do you always work this hard?" She gave a tired smile. "When you have a child to feed, you don't really get a choice." His eyes softened. For the first time, Sarah saw not just a millionaire, but a man who carried his own scars. His wife had died years ago, leaving him to raise Oliver alone. The emptiness in his eyes mirrored hers. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He thought of the little girl who had once given her only sandwich to his son. He thought of Sarah, working endlessly yet carrying herself with quiet dignity. And he wondered if fate had brought them together for a reason. One rainy afternoon, everything changed again. Sarah arrived soaked, her umbrella broken. She apologized, embarrassed. But Daniel looked at her and said quietly, "You don't need to apologize. You're doing more than most people would ever do. Sit down. Have some tea." She hesitated, then sat. For the first time, they talked, not as boss and maid, but as two people. She told him about her struggles, her husband's betrayal, the nights she went hungry so Lily could eat. He listened, truly listened, and in his silence, she found comfort. Oliver peeked in, whispering to Lily, "I think our parents like each other." They giggled, unaware of the weight of those words. Weeks later, Sarah's landlord threatened to evict her. She broke down quietly in the kitchen, wiping her tears before anyone saw. But Daniel noticed. "What's wrong?" he asked firmly. She tried to hide it, but finally whispered, "I don't know where we'll go. I can't afford the rent anymore." Daniel studied her for a long moment. Then, in a voice both gentle and commanding, he said, "You're not going anywhere. You and your daughter will stay here. With us." Sarah's heart stopped. She couldn't believe what she heard. Lily looked up at her mother, eyes wide with hope. "Mommy, does that mean we can stay?" And Oliver shouted with joy, hugging Lily tightly. "I told you, Daddy. She belongs here." Sarah's tears spilled freely. She fell to her knees, holding Lily close. For years, she had carried the weight of the world alone. And now, in the most unexpected place, she found not only shelter but love. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. "You gave my son kindness when he needed it most. Now let me return that kindness to you." In that moment, the mansion didn't feel cold anymore. It felt like home. And all of it began the day a little girl came to clean, and a boy pointed and said, "Daddy, look, it's her." Backhand index pointing right. If this story moved you, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more heart-touching stories that inspire hope and kindness.